Yeah, so the boot dryers. I've been running the boot dryers for a while now. I think when your feet get wet, and sometimes they do, you slip into a creek or whatever. When you're deep in some backcountry, you've got a problem because you're there for 8, 9, 10 days. And if you're wearing a full grain leather boot like this, which in later season I am, this is a crispy Wild Rock, fully insulated boot. This has been the boot for my late season hunts, bar none. The warmest, nicest boot I've used in the late season. I was on a hunt with John Barklow years ago in the Cassiar Mountains, and I was riding horses, moose hunting back there, and I had an insulated Nevada, but I was suffering. My toes were freezing, and I had lost the feeling in my toes for about 3 months when I got back. It took a while to get my nerves back. There was some damage.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
It sucked. But riding horses and the wind and the boots would freeze, they'd get wet, the leather would get wet. Anyway, it was a problem. I turned to Barklow after like 7 or 8 days up there, and I said, well, how are those boots working out for you? And he turned to me and said, honestly, Brian, this is the first time I've ever been on a hunt this late in the season where I didn't even think about my feet once. And I was really jealous and wanted to punch him. But these are the backcountry boot, the late season boot that I prefer. And then I always throw like this stuff on there. This is the crispy waterproofing cream or boot conditioning waterproofing cream. Mm-hmm. I put that on my boots after each hunt and try to get the leather ready to rock so it's sealed up and good. And a boot like this does not dry out. If you fall into a creek or something goes bad and it just gets soaked inside, or you just sweat a lot like I do, you sweat 3 or 4 days in a row, just gushing, a lot of adrenaline when you're in the heat of the moment and everything. And I gush sweat, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot. I don't think people
even
realize.
With scary movies.
I don't think people realize.
His hand sweats too.
My hands and feet just gush sweat. Well, that's where my friend, Austin over at Grakksaw, who makes the game bags,
right.
They built this little puppy right here. And this is a little boot dryer that I am absolutely in love with. And these boot dryers, you just stick them right here in your boot like so. And they're just little fans. That's all they are. And they just tuck in right there. You can lace it up. You just set them in there so they're like so. And they suck air into the boot. You run them on both boots, and then I use a dark energy charger that I plug in here. And we have a deal with Dark Energy too. Use a code GRITTY over at Dark Energy, and you'll get a discount. Same at Grakksaw. Use the code GRITTY, you'll get a discount. These have been game changer. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, I'm really glad Austin made these. I hadn't seen anything on the market like this. I can justify backpacking with these. Mm-hmm. They make a huge difference. And the way that I do this, and I've said this before, but I'll say it real quick. I run a tripod inside the teepee. The teepee has heat because we're running a titanium wood stove in there. The heat goes to the top. These leather boots, they'll dry out on the outside. In fact, they'll shrink the leather a lot if you try to get them really hot. But it's really hard for the inside of the boot to warm up because it's insulated,
right?
And it's leather, and the heat just won't go through the boot to the interior. It's just not, it won't do it. But that's where these fans come into play. So I'll set my tripod up so it's way tall into the peak of the canopy. I'll hang my boots off of them up there, and I'll put these dryers in there, and I'll hook up my Dark Energy charger, and I'll run it for 15 or 20 minutes, an hour at night when we're making dinner. And then in the morning, that's where it really shines. I'm spoiled now. I'll turn these things on in the morning while the stove's going in the morning. Ryan and I'll have breakfast or whatever. We start to get ready to go embark on the hunt. And when I pull my boots down to put them on to go after whatever, they're warm. They're hot inside. They're like supple, warm leather boots. And I have found that my feet are warmer all day long if I can start out with them being warm the moment I put the boot on.
Yeah.
That way I'm not trying to get warm over time. It's made a huge difference. So these things, they're worth carrying. Get them at Grakksaw.
Nice.
Use the code Gritty.